So what I typically do is I will start off with giving you just a very brief little history about the venue. I won't bore you too long, I promise. It's just some kind of cool facts. Then I will go over all the basic details, important information that you need to know. Then we'll walk around, we'll look around, check out all the different spaces. You can ask questions. We'll go over, you know, anything that you need to ask. The important thing is that I don't want you to feel like you have to write down what I'm saying or try to memorize what I'm saying, because I will give you a handout at the end of the tour that basically reiterates everything that I'm saying. That way you can enjoy the tour and take it all in, and you're not going, oh my God, what did she say about that? Your little handy sheet will tell you afterward. All right, so first and foremost, this was the original First Lutheran Church. It was built back in the mid-1800s. Well, this little smaller section over here was the original Lyceum. Then they added this side on in 1862. Okay, so what's really cool about that is that all the stained glass windows that you see are original. Pretty big deal. You know, if you know Galveston's history, you know that we've been prone to lots of horrible storms. The 1900 storm, which basically, you know, the island was underwater. This venue remained intact for the most part. Now it did have to get raised after, but the windows were all still in place. So that's really cool that they've withstood some other big hurricanes and other things that they've been through over the years. They remained the church for about 100 years, and then they ended up building a new sanctuary next door. So this kind of became different things, which also plays into the windows. At one point it was a recreational facility, and there were actually basketball courts in here, and basketballs were being thrown at these windows. I'm not kidding. At one point it was a gymnastics studio, a ballet studio. I took yoga in here like 30 years ago. I did a talent show in here. I mean, there was a number of things. And then unfortunately it sat dormant for a while, and as you can imagine, homeless people kind of knocked on the doors. It got vandalized, graffiti. It was a hot mess. So luckily back in 2008, the vestry next door said, okay, we've got this beautiful historical landmark, and you cannot tear down a historical landmark. So they're like, we got to do something with it. So luckily they chose to restore it. So the first thing we did, well, I say we, first thing they did was, hi, your name?
Kimberly.
Oh, Kim, come on in. We're just starting. Well, except for the two up in the choir loft, because they were pretty not touched because you can't get up there. But took out all the stained glass windows, sent them off to a gentleman in Fredericksburg, Texas, who did all the touch-up work on them. I mean, did a pretty amazing job, I might say. Pierre?
Yes.
Hi. Josh? Hi. Come on in. You just missed a little bit of history. Just go off Park Red, have a seat, wherever you want, and you're going to get in the nuts and bolts of it. So sent them off. He did a really good job. Then restored as much of the original hardwood as possible, wanting to keep with the original architecture as close as possible. Of course, had to do some pesky modern upgrades like all new lighting and fixtures. Put in an elevator in the back for handicapped and elderly. The elevator goes down to what's been built out as a caterer's prep kitchen downstairs. There's also a bride's room, groom's room, bride-groom room, whatever you want to say. And then some storage, office, some other stuff you don't care about, but we'll go down there in a little bit. Also put in central air and heat. If you're worried about a summer wedding, don't. It gets completely freezing in here. We have 6 units. We did have to turn the heat on this year for the first time in a while, and it works great too. We did put in a brand new sound system. Well, since then we've actually put in another sound system. The sound system has CD capabilities, which no one uses. It's also got, you know, iDevice, your phone, your computer, what have you, and it's got Bluetooth capabilities. So if you just need to create a playlist, it's good to go. The built-in speakers, I mean, you can tell how good the acoustics are in here. I mean, just listening to me talk, I mean, if you're in the back row, you can hear me without a microphone. So the high ceilings carry the sound very, very well. We put in brand new restroom facilities, which I'm so sorry. I know a couple of you were late, but if anybody needs to excuse themselves, the ladies are on that side, gentlemen's on that side. Please feel free. So that's about it. So once that was all said and done, We opened the doors back in 2010. And for about the first year, year and a half, we really didn't market or advertise because, quite frankly, we really didn't know what we had on our hands. So what we did find out, though, during that time, that trial period, is that the windows do sell the venue. They are beautiful, they're breathtaking, awe-inspiring. You can throw any cliche word that you want at them. It fits. People walk in here and I just look at their mouths and they go, you know, you're just like, okay. What I like about the windows is that there is every shade of every color somewhere in these windows. So it doesn't matter what your color scheme is, or even if you have a particular theme, anything goes. Themes are real popular now. And when I say I've seen some crazy stuff in here, let me just tell you. Everything from Harry Potter to Disney to Garden of Eden to safari and animal print. One Halloween, there was this all-goth wedding in here, and let me tell you, I was so leery about it because their plans, as they were telling me, were to cover the tables with black linens. They were covering the chairs with black chair covers. They were putting black centerpieces, black dishes. The bride wore black. I'm not kidding. And I kept thinking, oh my God, that's going to look awful up there. But they did all these candles. It was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. So when I tell you anything goes, trust me, anything goes. The other thing, though, I personally like about the windows is, this is just me, is that they kind of already decorate the venue. So in my mind, you really don't need to do a lot more to what's already here, because then you kind of take away why you come to a venue like this. It's just, they kind of stand alone. So I just don't think you need a lot. But like I've said, you can go all out and it works too. The other thing we found out is how versatile the venue is. So typically when people are coming to the venue, the main entry is the doors out front that go down the front stairs. I don't bring you through those doors when I'm doing a tour because, quite frankly, those doors and I hate each other. And I have to get on a chair to climb up there to try to open them, and it's just problematic. They're looking at me right now. So I just bring you through the little side door where all I have to do is turn a key. Much better. So as you walk through, which you would not have known to notice, was that there are these 4 openings right here. Really cool. This is actually my favorite part of the venue because you don't find this anywhere. Everything's now electric, but these are really cool roll-down doors. They're like divider walls. So they can all be completely closed to section off the 2 sides, or they can be completely open to make it one big room. So depending on how many people you have, how many guests, or what type of an event you're doing, you have a lot of options. So again, all this is on that sheet, so you don't have to remember this, but if you have anywhere from 115 guests and lower, you could do the ceremony on that side with the walls closed, and then everybody can come over here and you could do the reception on this side. The courtyard area and the gazebo area are included in whatever space you rent, so you could do the ceremony outside depending on the time of year, come inside and do the reception. If you have like 100 and below, you could technically do everything on this one side. So the front part would be the theater seating like you see. The back would be set up with tables, kind of pushed off to the side. They'd be completely decorated, but no chairs. Once the ceremony is over, we would pick up the chairs, pull out the tables, put the chairs around it, and then this area would be the dance floor area. Or what we do more often than not every weekend, twice this weekend, once today and once tomorrow, is what we do is call a room flip. So if you have anywhere over like 120 guests, 125, you really do need to do a room flip. So theater style seating, typically we don't do just 5 chairs per row, we do 6 to 7 and it doesn't go as far back, but the bride for some reason has a certain seating for why she has it like this today. But so imagine the walls down. This side set for the standard ceremony style, theater style seating for the ceremony. Have it, once the ceremony is over, everybody exits outside. They go around between the courtyard area and the gazebo area and this side, have a little hour cocktail reception. So they'll exit out. Say in the courtyard you've got like a photo booth in the gazebo area. Maybe you've set up like some tables and chairs or something out there, maybe some lawn games. This side you've got a beverage station set up, whether alcoholic or not. cake table set. You got whoever your DJ or your band is, if that's what you're doing, up there on the stage playing. So music's playing, people are getting a drink, saying hi to everybody, taking a photo, what have you. We come in here and we flip this side to the tables and the chairs. Buffet gets set up. And once that's complete, it usually takes about 45 minutes to an hour, depending on how many people you have and how much we need to do. Once that's done, all the walls open up. Then everybody starts mingling over here. The bride and groom maybe do their first dance or first look over there. Then they'll come and open the buffet, and then it's all one big room, and that whole side now is your dance floor. So it's all one big, people are milling around, going around and around. It works out very, very well. That is our most popular option, yes.
For visual sake, which part is the Lyceum and which part is the Lyceum?
Actually, that is the original portion, which was the Lyceum, but then we renamed the whole venue the Lyceum. But since we can do these walls and section off that little side, we made up a name for it. It's called the Lycita. Okay. So technically, this is Lyceum, and that's Lycita in the whole entire venue. I know, confusing, isn't it? Especially when you start making up names. So that is usually the most popular. It works well, it's easy. I have the staff that will come in and pick up all the tables and pick up all the chairs, drop the tables, put the chairs. You will just need somebody to do your linens and centerpieces. We have a way it happens really easily, and we'll go through that if that's the choice that you're choosing. Now, I provide with the venue, with your rental, all the tables and chairs. I've got inventory for up to 200 guests. So we've got 200 chairs. Got plenty of the round tables for guest seating. They seat 8 or 10, so depending on what you're doing. I've also got plenty of the rectangular tables for everything from sign-in to gifts to buffet to beverages, DJ, cakes, you name it. We just don't do linens or decorations. So just keep that in mind. Now we will set up all the tables and chairs. We will tear them down, clean up afterward. All you're responsible for doing is taking out whatever is yours at the end of the evening, and whoever's doing your food is responsible to get all food-related debris to the dumpster. Okay. Another thing to note is that this venue, it was a church, but it's not technically a church anymore. Just to let you know, it has been decommissioned. What is with the air quotes today? I apologize. So it has been decommissioned, so all faiths are welcome. So whoever you choose to do the officiating is perfectly fine. Okay, so now we get into the nuts and bolts of it. First thing that everybody always asks me is parking. Where is parking? So it's mainly street parking. However, after 5 and on the weekends, as you can tell, all the businesses around here are closed. So it opens up completely. And the good thing is there's no paid parking on the streets around a church, so that's good. Not that it would matter after 6, but if you're doing like a Sunday or something. Well, I guess they don't church on Sundays. So anywho, there also is a little lot across the street. It holds anywhere from like 5 to 10 to 12 cars, depending on how people park. We also do reserve a space out front for the bride and groom and your choice of vehicle for arrival and departure. But the bonus is, in addition, the printing company and the law firm behind us, they have adjacent lots. They allow us to use their lots, just as long as you don't hold them liable if anything should happen. Again, you don't want to go up against a law firm, so just, it's stupid. Oh my God, somebody laughed at that. Earlier, nobody laughed at that. It's stupid. I was like, okay. I almost hesitated and not said it. So you've got plenty of parking, so don't worry about that. I mean, we do big events all the time, no problem. The other big question that everybody asks is, how long do I have the venue for? If you're booking a Monday through a Thursday, you have the venue for 8 hours. If you're doing a Friday and a Saturday, or a Friday or a Saturday, you have 12 hours. If you're on a Sunday, 10 hours. That should give you plenty of time to, get in, set up, decorate, have your event, hour cleanup afterward. So that should be, but if you do need additional hours, we can talk about that. Now, in addition, if I don't have something booked the night before, now this is a bonus that some people get, and I apologize, it happens, I'm just being nice. But if I don't book something the night before, then I'll even let you come in for a couple of hours and do a rehearsal and maybe drop some stuff off, maybe get some stuff decorated, what have you. I just cannot guarantee that until 60 days out, obviously, because if I can book something, I need to book something. The other thing is if any of you want to take any portraits here in advance, This is a photographer's dream in here. I mean, hello, it's beautiful. Just let me know, give me a couple of weeks notice to make sure there's nothing at the venue. I'll open up for an hour or two for you and let you come and take some photos as well. Catering, next big thing. You can choose whomever you want. It just needs to be a licensed caterer, i.e. coming from a kitchen where a health inspector has inspected and they have a license to actually cook. Now, pizza's real big right now and very popular. Yes, you can order pizza. People are doing the big, like every table have like 3 tiers with different pizzas and then maybe have a salad and pasta off to the side. You can do that. Food trucks are all the rage right now. So food trucks are fine. We've had those here before as well. They come up in the courtyard, you know, do their little thing. People go get food. It's really cute. I know it's popular right now as well. That's fine too. Just get with me. We have a list of vendors on the website, but you're not at all obligated to utilize them. They're just people who frequent here the most, which might tell you something, but just let me know who's doing your food in advance and it should be fine. Anybody who is unapproved at this point is out of business, so not a big deal. Alcoholic beverages. We do not have a license, so technically you can bring in all your own. However, if you're providing beer, wine, champagne to your guests, like you're going to have a bar set up and you're serving it to your guests, then you do need to have a TABC certified bartender serving. Now, if you get into hard liquor, which I always advise, you don't have to. I know people like to have a full bar, but people just don't expect it, and you really open yourself up to serious liability. But if you do want to have hard liquor and serve it to your guest, then you will need somebody with an actual liquor license and liquor liability to provide that to your guest. Most likely, whoever your caterer is can provide that. I can help you with the bartending service if you want to do that. All I tell you is, look, just stick with the beer, wine, champagne if you want to. And if you've got an Uncle Jack or an Aunt Baru that wants to have their gin or their vodka, that would be me. Tell them to just bring it in their purse. Bring a flask and put it in their purse. I mean, seriously. You know, just make it easy on yourself. Plus, you'll save a lot of money. And then go out to the car if they want to. You just don't want to be responsible for these people. They need to be responsible for themselves. Now, if there are over 100 guests where alcoholic beverages are being served, we do require an officer, a security guard. We go through GPD. Their rate is $35 an hour. I bring them in for 5 hours, so you pay them directly that evening. So I always say just put $175 in cash in an envelope if you are doing that, and you'll hand it to them that night. Okay. Decorating-wise, rule of thumb, if you do it, just make sure you can undo it. If you're going to stick something on the walls or hang something on the walls, I ask that you use that 3M tape that just easily comes off and doesn't stick, okay? So, I only have 4 no-nos. One is no glitter inside. I know that's mainly, I have to say that for my proms and my Disney-themed things, but, you know, the glitter gets in the floors, and her husband will yell at me that he has to pick up the glitter because he's my #1 guy. And it's really tough to clean up on the wood floor. No rice or birdseed to be thrown outside. Yes, I still have to say that. And then no fake flower petals outside. Think environment. We had this beautiful Indian wedding a couple years back where they draped the entire courtyard with all these gorgeous colored fabrics, but they had 10,000 fake flower petals. Next day, the church members are out there on their hands and knees picking up the fake flower petals, and I still haven't heard the end of that. So no faux outside. You can have real or fake inside. And I think flower petals lining the aisle is beautiful. I also don't advise a runner in here. It doesn't adhere to the floor, and it ends up being a liability as well. Candles are fine. Candles are great. In fact, I think this is the type of place that warrants candles. Just make sure the flame is contained, i.e. hurricane lamp, lantern, you know, tall votives. But, you know, even the fake ones now, the battery operated, you can't even tell the difference. So just, it's up to you. The sparklers are fine. Everybody asks about sparklers. They're fine as long as they start outside down the stairs, far enough away from the building, and you bring a little pail of sand to put the remnants into. Now on Pinterest, they are decorating that pail of sand. I don't know what they won't decorate, but just beware of Pinterest. But other than that, you know, upon leaving, you can do glow sticks or streamers or colored bubbles. Now, if you're going to start doing the cannons with confetti, just make sure it's eco-fetti. You can find that online. Again, think environment outside. Other than that, questions before we start walking around?
Speaking of cannon, t-shirt cannon, like shooting t-shirt.
That's cute. I haven't seen that, but that's cute. I like that idea. Huh. All right.
I was thinking, like, what if the dress has glitter and stuff? I guess dresses would just have, like, sparkles.
Yeah. It won't be actual glitter. I mean, glitter is like, you know, it's the pieces that get in there and you can't get it out. You know, I mean, but the little bitty shimmery that you'll have on that, that's fine. Questions? 110. You could do the ceremony on this side. You know, do the typical rows of seating with the center aisle, come up on the stage and have the ceremony up here. It's really, I love this room. It's just me. But it's really, really cool. And if you were doing the room flip, so what would be over here at that time, the walls would be closed, you know, the DJ or band would be up here, have a little cake table preset, because you can't really set that during the room flip because you don't have enough time. Beverage station up in the corner. If you wanted to do some hors d'oeuvres in the center, that's fine, but I'm telling you, that first 45 minutes, hour goes so quickly. People, by the time they're getting out the door and just even moving, I mean, we're, you know, ripping and roaring over there. It's amazing. So, and it goes really quickly. So that's would be this side. And then once once all the walls are open and it's all one big room, then this whole area is your dance floor. It works out so well. And it flows really well. Also outside, you know, the gazebo area and the courtyard are a really fun place to do all kinds of fun stuff out there. It's like a blank canvas you can play with. I mean, I've had people do everything from, you know, chairs and tables, of course, high bar tables, you know, with like little candles on them. I've had people go and get that funky blow-up lounge furniture online and put it out there with tiki torches. I've had people do specialty bars. I've had people do lawn games for the kids. And yes, the marital moonwalk is really popular now. It's an all-white wedding. Yeah. Did you see that? Yeah. Yes. No, I can't wrap my head around it. But feel free if that's what you want to do. I won't come. No, I'm joking. I've had people tent it out there. It's a really expense you don't want to do. But, you know, it's just such a great area, and I would make use of it if you're on a, you know, if you have time. Yes?
If we do the reception in here and we do the ceremony out there with the chair set up, included in the price.
Okay, no, that's the other thing. I'm glad you asked that question. God, you got me. I try to think of everything. Yeah, if you do the ceremony outside, you would have to rent chairs to put out there. My chairs, you don't want those out there. First of all, they look awful. Second of all, they sink in the ground, so you would have to rent. But I always say, depending on how long your ceremony is, what I would do, this is just me, standing. I would have like a row of chairs for mom, grandmothers, you know, dads on the first row on each side, and then have everybody stand. And you know, you can invite them almost to be part of your ceremony by standing. Everybody will stand for you. And it's kind of sweet, and so it saves you a lot of money. And if it's really only like a 15-minute service, really, do you want to spend an extra $400 on chairs for 15 minutes? Not necessary. So that's just my thought. Do what you want. Okay, so we're going to start heading toward the back. Again, if anybody needs to stop and use the restrooms, feel free. We're going to go look at the main entrance area. We're going to go downstairs.
Where we're going?
No. You want to go now?
I'm just asking.
Oh.
Where are we going now?
We're going to go straight back. Anybody have a problem with the elevator? Okay. We'll take 2 groups down the elevator to the kitchen area. Okay? Yes. All right. Down and look at what people see when they walk in. It's really pretty. Again, it's kind of breathtaking. Just envision. I mean, some people will, you know, you can put like little lanterns or little plants or something if you want to. You don't need to. But just imagine when you walk in, you know, you'll have a sign-in table off to the side, gift table off to the side, maybe a remembrance table if you're going to have one of those. The buffet always works really well against these 3 windows over here. Reason being is the elevator area. The elevator goes down to the kitchen, so they can service the buffet without actually having to, you know, walk through your crowd with trays of food or chafing dishes or what have you. chafing. I meant to say chafing. Where am I? So, and then they can create a little breakdown area. You'll see it over there so that, you know, your guests don't see it and it works out really, really well. Okay, we're going to go into elderly that needed to get to the elevator. This is where they would come in at. This is also where all your vendors would come in at, you know, because then they can use the ramp to push their equipment in, what have you. Like I said, out here it's really, really kind of cool, especially at night with the lights, and you can just kind of do whatever out here. But you don't have to do anything, and it's pretty on its own. So, I mean, you know, just think tiki torches and moonwalk. So, questions while we're waiting for the next group?
Where's the parking here and where else?
So it's mainly, again, street parking on all the streets, and then that little lot, and then directly behind us, when you're leaving, go back there, you'll see the two big adjacent lots, so they can come around building.
How many people have you put out here in the courtyard?
For what type of an event?
For the wedding?
For the actual ceremony,
Yeah.
you can do 300 out here.
Okay.
Okay, so this is what's called a caterer's prep kitchen. There's no ventilation, so there's technically no cooking down here. Although I do have times where, like, a caterer will have to do some last-minute frying, or some, like, Papacitos sometimes has to do their last-minute, like, fajitas, and they'll do it in the alley out back. You just can't do any cooking in here, no ventilation. But we do have the caterer prep sink. We have a full refrigerator, large capacity ice machine, you know, prep table, storage, microwave that gets used. I'm not quite sure why, but they tell me it does get used. And then there's food. We've got plenty of trash cans and liners. All we ask is whoever is doing the food gets all food-related debris to the dumpsters out back upon leaving. Because sometimes, like if there's an event on a Sunday tomorrow, the staff won't come back in until Wednesday. And so, obviously, if food sits, you can imagine what that attracts. This is, you know, depending on how many guests you have, you can, we obviously need to clean in here today. You can use it, come half dressed, just put on your dress if you want to. Otherwise, I've had people line up in here, makeup every 30 minutes with a bride. You know, I've walked in here on mornings where there were 10 bridesmaids on the floor asleep. I mean, you know, tired from the night before, don't do it. The night before, it's not worth it. Plus, we've had bridesmaids spill out on this table out here. So I don't know how many attendants you have, but you know, it's air controlled. It's a great little spot. So if you want it, it's here. If not, it's up to you. Okay. Groom's room, per se. But whatever side is not being used for the wedding upstairs, like say you're doing the ceremony on the larger side, then the smaller side would be where all the men get dressed, basically, because they pretty much come dressed, except for maybe their jacket and their boutonniere, and so maybe they're sitting at the bar doing, I don't know, I've seen some serious shots going on, which makes me crazy. But yeah, so they're usually toasting and over there hanging out, and then all the bridesmaids and whatever is down here. Mothers, stuff like that, grandmothers. Oh, look. How cute was that?
Oh, strike a pose.
Strike a pose. That was good. That was very quick. All right. So now what I typically do at this point is, and I apologize, the church next door has their annual Oktoberfest celebration, and if anybody's ever been to it, you know how huge it is. It's like the largest festival on the island. Wow, is it grown. And if you haven't been, you need to come. It is something worth seeing. But they store all their stuff on the other side. So yes, I did go to Target and buy some shower curtains because it's ugly. And I see that I need to replace a couple of them. But yeah, so it's unsightly. That's what that is. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to let you mosey to get back upstairs and meet me at the table and make sure I have a date held for you. And if you are still looking for a date, let's put you down tentatively on a date. The reason I say that is this building does book up very quickly. It's the most, I guess, cost efficient on the island. And we're real easy and lax, probably more than we should be, but you know, weddings are supposed to be happy. I'm not going to nickel and dime you to death. I'm not going to, you know, have all these horrible hard rules that quite frankly don't really matter. They do. I didn't say that. But we like to be easy to work with, and we want it to be special for you. So that's probably why. So it does book up quick. So I want to get you on a tentative hold. Now, I will keep you on that tentative hold for a little while until you go and look and all the other places that you're looking at. You'll have questions to ask me afterward, that's fine. But once you decide one way or the other, and even if it's no, feel free to please call, just email me and say, we've decided on another venue. That way I can release the date for somebody else. You will not hurt my feelings, I swear to you. I mean, all the places, I was born and raised here, and everybody that works at all the venues, we all know each other, and we're all just rooting for each other, so you will not hurt my feelings. But if you do want to book, let me know, and then I'll execute a contract. What's due at signing is 1/2 of the rental, whichever day you use, whichever space you use. Plus there's a $200 refundable damage deposit. You get that back after the event pending no damages. It's a big waste of my time and I hate it, but the lawyers make us do it. So that plus half the rental is due, and then the remaining other half is not due until 30 days prior to your event. You can pay online. If you're lucky enough to get a refund from taxes, which I would love to know what that feels like, feel free to apply that. You know, sometimes, actually I say this, and every time I say this, I'm like, I still don't know who those people are. But sometimes you get like an extra $200 or $100 after you've paid your bills at the end of the month. Just apply it. I don't know who those people are either, but I think about that. I'm like, sometimes, my point is if you do find yourself coming into like a lottery ticket that you win like $350 and you want to just apply it towards the rent so it doesn't all just gang up on you 30 days prior to your event, that's fine.